background support here.
Hey, everybody. Tracy Beavers here. You know how I do this every week. I'm waiting on StreamYard to connect into my free Facebook group. Hopefully that will happen. Oh, I see us. Awesome. All right. You gotta love connecting the tech. It's so fun. All right, cool. I am so excited about today, you guys. I really, really am. I have a special guest for you that you are going to love. But let me kick us off like I always do. Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. You guys know I'm using StreamYard. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live in my free Facebook group. So wherever you're coming in from, we see you and we appreciate you. And throw your questions and comments into the chat as we go along. I'm going to be checking those as we go. And I know Stephanie, she's the sweetest thing. She will love to answer your questions. And if you're coming to us on replay and you have a question or a comment for me or Steph, ask it. And if it's in my free group and she's not over there, I will get the answer for you from her. So no worries. All right. I am thrilled to have with me Stephanie Cartin. She's the co-founder of the Entreprenista League, which has become one of my favorite communities. It is a community for female founders that is a great place for us to virtually hang out, support each other, collaborate. I mean, the collaborations that are happening in there are amazing. So today, though, we're going to be talking about marketing and branding and scaling a seven-figure business, in case that is something that's on your mind. But first, just in case we are brand new to each other, I am Tracy Beavers. I'm an award-winning business and sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. Most of you guys know my story. About 7 years ago, I became finally completely fed up with my corporate career, and I hatched a plan to fully exit. And once I did, in my second full year of business as an online coach, I blew past the six-figure mark, and I haven't looked back since. And I share that with you not to brag. I share that with you as inspiration. If you're in a job right now that you don't like, you can chase your dream just like I did. Or maybe you've left that job and you're wondering, "Ooh, is this going to work? Is anybody going to buy my stuff? Are my promotions working?" Listen, I've been there. It's a roller coaster, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can too. I teach all organic visibility and list growth strategies, and I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to get visible and grow your email lists to get that consistent monthly income that you want. And the strategies that I teach get your list growth and leads happening automatically every day in the background of your business. All right, my friends, let me introduce Stephanie to you. One second, I'm going to pop over to the Facebook group. I want to make sure I can see our comments. There we go. Kick off the comments there. Get those rolling. All right, Stephanie Cartin. She is a visionary serial entrepreneur. She's an investor. She's a podcast host. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's dedicated her career to championing women founders. And she's created several seven-figure businesses. Here's just a few: Pearl Influential Capital, Social Fly, and my favorite one, the Entreprenista League. She is deeply committed. This is what I love about her. She is deeply committed to making an impact by openly sharing her journey with multiple sclerosis, infertility, and a complicated pregnancy. And she's been advocating for women with facing similar challenges for a long time. And her inspiring story, I got to see it recently. She's been featured on the Today Show, Bloomberg, and Forbes. Stephanie, welcome in. Is there anything that I left out that you want to share with people?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me and having me here to share my story. You hit everything. I just want to be here to provide value and help your community, and I'm here to support everyone. So thank you.
I love that. It's one of my favorite things about you. Okay, fun fact. I always like to ask every guest for a fun fact. Do you want to share yours?
Sure, I'll share it. So it's probably predictable. I was the captain of my high school cheerleading squad for 3 years, actually. I think they said I was the youngest high school student to become captain of the cheerleading squad as I was a sophomore doing varsity cheer. So
Nice.
I've just always been a champion, wanting to cheer people on, support people. So it's my fun fact, but maybe not so surprising.
It's not a shock. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that fits. That tracks. Yes, because you are such a champion for people and you're super organized. I could totally see you excelling in that role and everybody loving having you in it. And that's why they were like, no, we want Stephanie back. Nope, we want Stephanie back. Yep, not surprising at all. Okay. I want you to share a little bit deeper with us. I know I read your bio, but would you share a bit about you and your story? Because my audience loves to hear where people started out and how they got where they are.
Absolutely. So I will take you back now over a decade. So my business partner, Courtney, and we started our first business called Socialfly, which you mentioned, which
Yeah.
is a full service social media marketing and influencer agency. And we started that business over a decade now, 13 plus years ago. We started initially on the side of our full-time job. So Courtney
Mhm.
and we were both working in the corporate world, and we started taking on clients on the side,
Yeah.
working nights and weekends for about 10 months until we said to each other, and I still remember this exact moment and where we were. I said, all right, if this is going to be an actual business, we just have to go all in and do it, or not do it at all, because it just became too much for us, Tracy, to be
Yeah.
working our full-time jobs every single night, every single weekend on our lunch breaks. I remember back then we were on like Google chat, just messaging each other on the side, trying to build this business. We were like, we just have to
Right.
go all in. So we decided to quit our corporate jobs on the same day. It
Woo!
was, yes, May 4th. It was May 4th of 2012.
Oh
We
my
never looked back. We grew and scaled Socialfly really organically by doing really great work for our clients. We would always practice what we would preach with our own marketing strategies for our agency business. And we joined groups and communities, and we landed lots of our first clients. So we were
Yeah.
very quickly #1 on Google for social media agency.
Love
We
it.
started winning these awards for our work. And what started to happen was, because of this quick growth and success of Socialfly, so many women founders were reaching out to us all the time, wanting to go out to coffee and pick our brain and wanting to hear how we did it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to help absolutely everyone. Like, I loved getting these messages and emails. But we realized so quickly, Tracy, it was just not scalable. And it
Yeah.
was just physically impossible to go out to
Right.
coffee all day, every day, and still run Socialfly. So we started
Mhm.
thinking, how can we help as many women founders as possible, but actually do it at scale? So
Yeah.
our initial aha moment, if you will, was, oh, why don't we start a podcast? We can share all of these incredible stories, like
Yeah.
women like you that are building these businesses and have so much advice and insight to share. So that way, when someone says, like, I want to build a business, how do I grow my email list? We could say, go listen to the episode with Tracy. Here's how she grew and scaled her business. So that's what we did. We started the podcast at the end of 2018.
Mhm.
Really took off from that first episode. And from there, when the pandemic happened in 2020, we started
Mhm.
getting all of these messages now from our listeners
Mhm.
and followers. We heard things like, I lost my job. I want to start a business. Can you help?
Wow.
Or I need to pivot.
Wow.
Can you help us?
Wow.
And we're getting these messages, and I'm like, I need to help everyone. But we were focused on growing our agency. So we were like, okay, we worked with our incredible business coach at the time, Leslie. Shout out to Leslie. And we worked on a whole plan for how we could divide and conquer. So
Yeah.
we decided at that time, Courtney would stay focused on growing and scaling Socialfly, which we just sold last year. And then,
Oh, exciting.
yeah, and I would focus on building everything out with Entreprenista. So now, over the past 5 years, we have now built Entreprenista into a media company where we have our podcasts, our newsletters, our social, our events, our awards, and then, of course, our incredible supportive community inside the Entreprenista League, which I'm so grateful that you are a part of. And everyone inside the community is now just connecting, doing business together,
Mhm.
supporting each other. And it is truly the greatest gift and also my life's work, because I just see every day in the community, everyone is supporting each other,
Yeah.
helping each other. I mean, you asked me to come be on your show here to help support. And it's like, of course I'm going to do that, because that is what we all do. We show up for each other, we support each other. And
Mhm.
that is the 4-minute backstory on the, the past decade plus in life and business, plus
Yeah.
a lot of other things that happened.
Well, I think that is so exciting. And I love what you shared, because there are so many people like us that, and I don't know if this was your situation or not, but for me, when I decided to build this business, I was making a very great income in sales. Over 6 figures a year. And my husband was on board with me doing this, but he was like, are we going to derail our retirement? And the kids were in high school and middle school playing every sport that had a ball. We were busy. There was prom, cars, college, And so I chose to build alongside my corporate job,
Mhm.
because I didn't want the money stress, and I wanted to make sure this thing was going to fly before I let go of what I was doing. Did you guys feel that too?
So yes, and so that's one of the reasons why we started on the side. We were trying to
Yeah.
build up a bit of a client base.
Mhm.
When we left our jobs to go full time building Socialfly, we were both so young with very little responsibilities at the time.
Yeah.
So we were in our early and mid 20s. Neither of us are married. I did not have a child at that time. And we were like, now's the time to go all in. And I remember Courtney said, she's like, if it doesn't work, I can just always go back and, get a job. And I'm like, this
Right.
is going to work. We're not even going to have that mindset. We're going to make it happen. And look, this was early days. We took a huge risk, early days of social media. We literally had to walk around New York City and pound the pavement and convince business owners that social media was going to be the way of the future to reach their customers. They were like, oh no, this is just a fad. And we're like, we're telling you need a strategy. So we took a huge risk. I was like ready to go. I'm like, I am just meant to build.
Right.
And Courtney's a little more risk averse, but she was ready to build. But she's like, she always has her backup plan. And that's also why we're like the best business partners, because we have opposite skill sets, but we're so aligned with our vision and mission and what we want to build together. And everyone always asks us, like, how have you been in business with your best friend for many, many years? And that's how we make it work.
I love it. And the other thing I love that you shared is that you guys saw a need and you made a decision to fill it. You could have said, oh, we'll let somebody else do that. Or, we'll just meet with as many people as we can or whatever. No, you were like, okay, this is an opportunity to not only serve and expand other women, but also build another business arm. I mean, I think that's amazing. I love that so much. Okay. We came here today to talk about branding and marketing for a 7-figure business. I would love to hear, and I know my audience would too, because you've been in the marketplace a long time. What are some of the biggest marketing mistakes that we entrepreneurs are making that you're seeing right now?
The biggest thing that I see time and time again is that women entrepreneurs are not trusting in themselves and investing in themselves. And they're trying to do everything on their own. When you're building a business and when you're building a marketing strategy, it's complex and it's really hard. And it's a lot harder if you try to do everything on your own and figure everything out yourself. And we learned very early on what we were really great at and what we were experts at. And we also learned how to reach out and ask for help, how to surround ourselves with the right community of people and experts who could help guide us. And we were always hungry and we were always asking questions. We were not sitting in our office by ourselves being like, how do we do this? How do we do that? How do we do it on our own? We were like, who can help us? Who can expand us? Who can teach us? And I still remember, Tracy, so the day after we quit our corporate jobs and now it's a Monday, Courtney and I, now we have the whole entire day to work on our business and we're sitting there. So we're at my apartment on the Upper West Side in New York City. And we're sitting there. We're like, okay, we have these clients. Like, I think we should probably get interns. And then we were like, where are they all going to go? Like, where are they going to work from? They can't come to my apartment. And this is before remote work and we were doing everything virtually.
Right.
And Courtney remembered that her mom had a client who became a family friend, Frank, who owns a printing company in Midtown Manhattan. And we called Frank and introduced ourselves and wanted to see if he had extra office space that we could work out of. So we went to Frank's printing shop literally on that first day of working full time. And he asked us, he was like, how are you going to get your clients? We're like, we're just going to like pound the pavement, post on social media. And he said, let me help you. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And we saw right away, like other business owners want to help when you reach out and ask. And then he said, come to my networking group with me. It's how I grew this entire business. We're in there. We're looking at his huge printing company. We're like, how did you build this? How did you do this?
Yeah.
Two 20-somethings that had just started. We're like, we had not been in the entrepreneurial space. And he took us under his wing and he showed us the light. And we went to that first networking group. And that first group that we joined changed everything for us and the trajectory of our business. And we saw how business was getting done, Tracy.
Yeah.
We saw how everyone was connecting, collaborating, and helping each other. And then we were like, okay, we want to join the group. And we found out what it cost to join the group.
Yeah.
And we were like, Frank, how are we going to afford this? We're just starting out. And he said, trust me, invest in yourself and in your business, and the business will come. And that mindset, Tracy, just opened up the world for us.
Yes.
And some of our closest friends in life and in business are from that very first group that we joined. And all of our first clients came from referrals and introductions from that group. And it's one of the reasons why we created this community we have, because it's like that group, but on steroids now with women who want to support each other. So investing in yourself, like if you want to build a business,
Yeah.
You have to invest in yourself or don't start a business because
Right.
you have to do that to be
Yeah.
successful.
I absolutely agree with you. And my audience knows I can get on a soapbox about this because one of my frustrations in the online space is that there's a lot of marketing out there that says, oh, you can just come into the online space and build a business and it's going to be really easy and cheap. Well, okay. It's less expensive than opening up a boutique, brick and mortar, inventory, employees, cash registers, the whole thing, or maybe a franchise. It is less expensive that way, but it's still going to have some expenses. And we can't, I don't know. It frustrates me when I see people that truly don't understand that it is they're forgetting it is a business.
Yes.
And then it does take a year or more sometimes to make a profit. And you have to be willing to have that mindset like you had, like we're going all in, and Courtney's over there going, hold on a minute. And but then, she jumped in with you, and then you're like, we're going to invest in this networking group and we don't know how we're going to pay for it, but we're going to figure it out. I love that. And that is exactly why you've been successful. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. Let's talk about personal brands and company brands, because being honest, even though I've been in marketing for so long, the word branding, I think, is a very general term and it confuses me on some level. So when people say branding, they can mean different things. And I think one of the things that people try to do is they say, well, I'm going to have a personal brand, but then I'm going to have a company brand. And sometimes those two things are not cohesive. Could you tell us about how you feel? What are your thoughts on personal branding and company branding? Why do they matter? And why should you try to build those together?
Yes, this is so important. And I talk about this all the time, Tracy, because people like to do business with people they know, love, and trust, and people that they genuinely feel connected to and supported by. So, for myself and Courtney, when we were first starting our agency business, we realized early on that we had to become known and we had to become the thought leaders in social media so that when people would think, oh, I need help with my social media, who do you think of? Courtney and Stephanie from Socialfly. So how did we make that connection? Where did we show up? What was the content that we were sharing? And again, you have to remember, I would say the advantage that we had was that we were social media experts, but guess why we were social media experts? Because we were showing up on social media, sharing that we were social media experts. Of course, we're behind the scenes
Right.
learning all this. Social media was in its infancy.
Yeah.
You can build and create the brand and persona and the business that you want. You can create anything now online, and you have to build that trust and relationship
Yeah.
with your potential customers, your community, your audience. And you do that through authentic connection. Now,
Yes.
can you build a business without building a personal brand and without showing up?
Mhm.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
But you can likely build your business, and we've done it faster with more connection to your actual audience and community when you do show up authentically. So, Tracy, I'll actually ask you this.
Yeah.
When you see me show up, or you see Stephanie or Entreprenista, like, what do you think of when you see me show up on social media?
I just get excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's there. She's walking the walk. She is showing up. She is truly available to her audience. It's not like you created this Entreprenista League and you're hiding behind the logo and nobody can reach you. We're not, I guess if you were the owner of Nike, you could do that. You could just hide behind the logo and not worry about it. But our businesses are built on, like you're saying, on trust and authenticity. And I just think I agree with you so much. But when I see you show up, it solidifies your credibility with me. It deepens that trust factor that I have with you. And it helps me feel like we're connected, even though you're in Florida and I'm in Arkansas and we've never met in person,
But
That's
we are connected. And that's what personal brand is. It's what do people think of when they see you, when they
Yeah.
think of you? Like, that is your personal brand. And then when you are storytelling, building your business or your personal journey, for me, I went through a very complicated health journey, a very complicated infertility journey, a very complicated pregnancy journey. And I shared
Yeah.
what I was going through not because I was trying to build my personal brand on
Yeah.
purpose. I shared because that's who I am. I want to share. I want to connect. I show up, and sharing actually really helped me. My daughter would not be on this planet if it were not for me sharing and social media, because I was actually able to connect with women who were able to share their stories of what they went through, who helped me find the right doctors, the right resources, the right information to
Yeah.
not only get pregnant, but stay pregnant, because I genuinely wanted to connect and share. And I was able to share, and I was also able to receive. So
Mhm.
when you're thinking about building your personal brand and connecting it with your business, you have to think about, how do you want people to perceive you? What do you want them to feel? How
Right.
do you want them to connect with you? And then ultimately, if you're building your personal brand because you want to build your business,
Mhm.
those two things then do have to be strategically aligned. So then you can have your audience come over to your business and want to feel like they want to do business or become a client or customer of yours as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally on board with that. I almost feel like for you and I and female founders, the personal brand is 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 more important than the logo and the graphics and the brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. People want that one-to-one connection. We've become so used to that and accustomed to that. And
Mhm.
again, like at the end of the day, we all do business with people. People want to do business with people. I want to buy products and services from people that I love, that I
Mhm.
want to champion and support.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
build that connection, because any business should be doing that with their clients and their customers. Like
Mhm.
every business now essentially is a media company and a community. And you
Yeah.
have to be really good at nurturing that community, but you genuinely have to care and like people. That's the
Mhm.
secret.
I agree completely. All right, let's talk about for those listening or watching that want to get their business to seven figures. Could you give us some strategies that you guys used? You used on your own building your businesses, and then you and Courtney together with Social Fly and Entreprenista League. What are some really key things that we should be thinking about?
I have so many things, Tracy, and I know we only have a few minutes left, so I'll try to I'll try to go through them quickly. Okay, so something I already mentioned is that when we first started Socialfly, we joined that networking group, and those relationships that
Mhm.
we joined early on were the key to our success in life and business. So
Love it.
those relationships are everything. You're not going to be able to build a business alone by yourself without support and relationships. And you need
Right.
to lean into those relationships, not one-sided relationships, not just asking people for
Mhm.
things. It's two ways. So we always show up to all the calls, all the meetings that we have, and we ask other people, how can we help you?
Yeah.
Because when you share, when you give, we always say givers gain, right?
Yes.
When you give, you're able to also receive. So build real, meaningful, authentic relationships with other founders. That will help you get ahead. That's the number one key to success
Love
if
it.
you want to build a seven-figure business. The next thing that I love sharing is that visibility equals profitability. If you're very strategic with your visibility and you know exactly how to get that visibility.
Yeah.
So no one can do business with you if they don't know about you personally or they don't know about your brand. If you're not
Exactly.
visible, you're not going to make any money in your business. It's just
Right.
not possible. It's not going to happen. So,
Mhm.
where do you get visible?
Right.
You have to be really strategic about where to show up. So,
Mhm.
we did all the things over the years. I'm going to list off a bunch of things that we did. We did not do all of these things at once. This was over a decade. So,
Yeah.
we wrote a book that helped position ourselves as thought leaders. We were able to give that book as a takeaway at new business meetings. We were able to say, we wrote the book on social media. This is 10 years ago, Tracy. We wrote a
Yeah.
book on social media in 2015.
I love it.
And but we can still use that as credibility to this day.
Yeah.
We wrote the book on social media. That really helped us.
Mhm.
We started, you're going to love this one, an email newsletter.
Love it.
You need an email newsletter, because when
Yes.
you build your whole business on social media, it is a
Mhm.
rented audience.
It
Use
is.
that group, that Facebook group, use those
Mhm.
groups that you create, your Instagram account,
Mhm.
TikTok, top of funnel. Get those emails from social media, because when
Yes.
those platforms go down,
Yeah.
if you have someone's email, you can
Mhm.
reach them right away. You have
Yeah.
access to your customer, and people are more likely to convert from your email marketing when you're showing
Mhm.
up in your inbox with consistency. There's
Yep.
really great tools out there. We use Klaviyo. Beehive is incredible if you're building a newsletter. There are ways to really monetize your newsletter where you can drive
Mhm.
revenue, not just revenue for your service or your product, but also revenue just from your audience on your newsletter. So
Right.
those are a few things that we did. I'll mention one more. We
Yes.
also applied to and started winning lots of awards for our business. That,
Right.
again, visibility, put us on the map, made us an award-winning business, helped us land
Mhm.
clients, helped us get customers. So when we created the Entreprenista community, We realized there were not a lot of award programs out there specifically for women-owned businesses.
Right.
We wanted to give our members and our community the opportunity to get that credibility and get visible, because we knew if it had that impact for us, we had to pass that along to our community. So apply for awards, get visible, and you can grow your business to 7 figures.
I love it. You know, I'm all about visibility and list growth.
Yes.
Music to my ears.
I knew you'd love that.
I do love it. And I'm also all about relationships and connections. And I think what you said there is so key. You are so correct. We cannot sit in our houses and expect to sell stuff. We've got to get out there virtually, in some virtual rooms or in-person rooms, making connections, asking questions. How can I help you? The other person will say, oh, that's great. This is what I need. And now how can I help you? It is givers gain. And I think you might be talking about BNI when you're talking about your networking group. Yeah.
First, if you ever join, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now Entreprenista is like that on steroids, right?
Exactly.
It's so much opportunity.
It is. So every corporate job I had, I was always in a BNI chapter, and I totally understand where you're coming from on business growth, but it was all based on connections and relationships, and then know, like, and trust. And they can't, like you're saying, if people don't know who I am and I'm not showing up, then they're not going to think of me first when it comes to visibility and list growth. So, all right. I know we have got to wrap this up. I could talk to you for we could go on for another hour.
Okay.
All right. One last thing. How can business owners, how can they build that community that we've been talking about, those relationships? How can they build a community around their brand for that long-term success?
Yes. So I alluded to this before, but you genuinely have to like connecting and being around people, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to show up and offer value, and also ask your community, ask your audience, ask your customers what they are looking for, what's helpful to them, and then create that and provide that. Community is not a one-way street where you're just showing up and taking. It's all about authenticity and connection and coming together. So whether you have a service-based business or a product-based business or a nonprofit, everyone can build community as part of their business, whether it's their clients or customers or brand evangelists or ambassadors. You bring people together for a reason, for a cause, because they're interested in certain things. And you become that thought leader of that community, and you can nurture and grow these relationships. And that is how you build a business now today. And you see lots of different companies are using this strategy to be able to grow their business. When we set out to create Entreprenista and our podcast, it wasn't a strategy. It just all happened organically and authentically. And then we saw oh my God, this is how you do it, right? We created content around a topic that everyone was coming to us for, and we were so passionate about. And everyone started connecting through that common thread of, we're all business owners and have challenges and want to hear these amazing stories and lessons learned. And then we were able to take it to that next chapter with our Entreprenista League community, the actual membership, because we listened. We heard what people needed and wanted, and then created that. So you can apply that to any type of business.
Yeah, love that. Listen to your audience. Ask them what they need. Ask them how you can support them. Ask for help when you need it. I love everything we have shared today. Stephanie, you have an awesome freebie. I just popped it into the comments over in our Facebook group. Do you want to tell them about your newsletter?
Yeah. So every Tuesday, speaking of emails, every Tuesday we send out our weekly email newsletter. It's called the Entreprenista Agenda. It is packed with all of the business news that you need to know from the week. Also, we have all the top grants that are available to apply to in that newsletter. We're also featuring members of the Entreprenista League, our podcast guests, our Entreprenista approved members. We also have articles from our Entreprenista experts. It is jam-packed with all of this great content, so you don't have to be searching everywhere on the internet for it. It's all in that free weekly newsletter. And then we also have upcoming free events that are in the newsletter that you are welcome to join. And of course, you can get inside the Entreprenista community through it.
I love it. I love the newsletter. I can't wait to read it when I get it every week. And especially, what I think is really cool is you do include a lot of the top grants that women can apply for, because that's something that I didn't know. It wasn't that I didn't know about it. I knew about grants for nonprofits, but I didn't realize that there were so many grant opportunities out there for women-owned businesses until I got into the Entreprenista League, and my eyes were just open, and I was like, wow, Because like we're talking about, it's scary to invest. But if you can secure a grant, that takes the pressure off, or
Mhm.
you can win an award. I mean, a couple of years ago, I won an award from Vanity Fair, their support award that they did in the summer, and that was $5,000.
Amazing.
And I revamped my entire website with it because it cost $5,000. But before that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to figure out how to get the funds to revamp the website. Well, then I won that award and I was like, well, thank you, God. There we go.
There you go. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a
So,
lot of grants out there, lots of non-dilutive capital. Non-dilutive means someone's not taking equity in your business to give you that money. And there's a lot of businesses that do grant programs. We do grant programs as well. So get on the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss anything.
I love it. And if you're with us on LinkedIn, I'll pop that into the comments here when we're finished. Also on YouTube, it's in the description notes. And podcast listeners, I haven't left you out. It'll be in the show notes for you as well. So sign up for that Entreprenista League newsletter, Entreprenista Agenda, newsletter. It is jam-packed, like Stephanie said. I always learn something really cool. Okay, my friends, I've got something special for you before we sign off. If you are tired of posting online and just hoping and praying that it turns into clients, I have the answer for you. What has made me highly successful in sales for over 20 years is my ability to connect with people like Stephanie and I have been talking about, make those connections and build those relationships. And here in the online space, it takes place in the DMs and it takes place in the inbox. Sometimes we got to start in the DMs first before we can get into somebody's inbox. I want you to come learn my authentic human DM strategies that help me build my business to over 6 figures a year. I'm going to put the link to my paid workshop in the comments. It's only $57 if you join as an early bird. It's going to be on June 27. All the information is there. And if you want to DM me for more info, I am happy to do that. See what I did there? Very meta. DM me about my DMs. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. Anything you want to add as a final closing message for everybody?
Well, thank you again for having me. I just want to share with everyone, feel free to reach out to me, connect with me, send me a DM. I am all about the DM. So I love that, Tracy. I want to go to your class too, because all the magic is happening on LinkedIn and Instagram in the DM. So definitely go to your workshop. So yeah, send me a DM, connect with me. I'm here for you and looking forward to inviting everyone to join the community if you're not yet part of Entreprenista.
I love it. All right, my friends, you know how I do things. I'm here live every Thursday at 11:30 Central. I want you to join me, set that Google Calendar and phone alarm. And you hear me say this every single week. Don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days nobody can remember your name. And if you feel like you are alone in that, you are not. It doesn't matter if you're on day 1, hour 1, or you're 15 years in and you've sold businesses and you've scaled to 7 figures. Sometimes we all just feel like that and have days like that. And that's where it is so important to get into a community of support like the one Stephanie and Courtney have created in the Entreprenista League, like my Be a Confident Entrepreneur free Facebook group. So get into a community, start making those connections, and your business is going to grow. Have a great balance of the week and weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have got to keep cheering each other on. Stephanie, thank you again so much.
Thanks, Tracy.